And believe me, nothing will be private. The goal is to have everything on computer in the AI records. So nothing in your life will be private.
We've been deluded into this place where science has made our lives, simpler, and we have not been made capable or independent. On the contrary, so I think as society, we have to take responsibility for that because we went along with it. We bought the drug. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to GBN Originals. It's my pleasure today to introduce my guest, Mark Sharman. He was a long-time TV exec with ITV and Sky TV. More recently, though, he's been making independent films with independent filmmakers. His latest offering in that context is called The Agenda, Their Vision, Your Future. I've watched it a couple of times, found it compelling to say the least. There's many adjectives I could use, but thank you very much for joining me today, Mark.
My pleasure.
To get right into it, for those watching this who haven't yet watched The Agenda, could you maybe give a summary of what it's about?
Well, I think if I quote Nick Hudson at the top of the film, he says that there's always been a lust for power and the lust to control other people. And throughout time, the problem is that those who would control now have the tools to do it through digital ID, surveillance, AI, and digital currencies. They can actually control almost every aspect of our lives. And the tool for delivering this seems to be the United Nations Agenda 2030, which not many of the public are aware of, and yet it's such an enormous commitment. It's a master plan to save the world, but in actual fact, it's a master plan to control the world and every aspect of life on Earth. They want, under the auspices of the United Nations, to check it and manage it. And what it actually is, the United Nations is very much influenced by the very wealthy, the oligarchs, if you will. And it's a recurrence of a long lost dream called technocracy. Going back to the 1930s, there was a belief that the world is too big and too important to be decided by democracy and democratic vote of ordinary people. And everything should be decided by the very wealthy, who would then appoint scientists and academics and so-called experts to control all aspects of life. And that really is the goal that the film's about. It's how the United Nations is, in our view, and many experts' view, being used as a tool or a vehicle to deliver this long-held ambition. Go on. It boils down to some definite chapters. The surveillance chapter is very worrying about how they can watch us and actually dictate how we think. But of course, it also goes into the change of currency, the fiat currency, which we all know is predicted to collapse, and the new currency is likely to be based on tokens or based on the natural world, natural assets, and the use of carbon. And of course, to make all that work, you have to believe that there is a climate crisis caused by carbon dioxide. And we argue, or experts within our film argue, that actually that's just a tool of control. And actually, there is no real climate crisis, and it's being used to force net zero. And going again right back to technocracy, at the hub of it was controlling the world's resources, controlling energy, controlling food, controlling power, and it's the same script, but with the technological edge.
It strikes me, and I think the point is almost made by someone speaking in the film, that it's been very clever the way in which positive sounding, benign sounding bodies have been co-opted by this. so that it's the United Nations Agenda 2030, and also involved are the World Health Organization. There are groups that people would just quietly assume had all of our best, intentions, had all of our best hopes in hand. And it's by that subterfuge, isn't it, that I think when you say that people aren't seeing the threat in Agenda 2030, it's because it seems to be, and it's presented as being under the aegis of entities that we've been raised to trust.
Absolutely.